All right. Thank you, everyone, for joining us here. I wanted to just pretty much start the night just by saying this conversation is around pain management, natural solutions. It's not just physical pain. Yes, we'll be talking about injuries, dodgy knees or clicky hips if you were anything like what I was, or the general wear and tear as we're getting older. But we'll also be talking about the mental aspect of it, the emotional side of pain, so brain fog, the stress that comes along with it, any kind of anxiety, that constant frustration when you know that you're just not operating at your full potential. You're not at your best. Whether that's at home or in your work career with the kids, whatever it might be. So, for those who don't know me, my name is Rhonda Muller. I am a mother, grandmother. May my children be blessed with many more grandchildren because it's all about me now. I'm a functional nutritional therapist, and I'm also the founder of ASD Healthy Life. I'm based in Mackay in North Queensland, Australia, and I've been working and supporting in the health community, predominantly women and children. Nothing against the guys, but it's usually us women that are dragging the guys to look at things. But yeah, I've been working in this space since 2009. And if you ask my mother or my husband, they will tell you one thing about me is I do not sit in the doom and gloom. Yes, I might get frustrated. I might drop into that hole, but I'll find a ladder. I won't sit and unpack. I'm always, someone who doesn't just complain or accept this is how it is. If someone says no, even when I was a little girl, I used to drive my mother insane. I would ask, but why? If something wasn't working or something isn't working, my brain immediately goes to plan B. What can I do? What can I change? Surely there's got to be another option or another solution. So yeah, that's pretty much the basics. And it's pretty much how I've also raised my family. It's how I've navigated my own health. And it's why I ended up in the natural health sector in the first place, because I spent many years in corporate and management, sales, marketing before I started to study. And I've studied many, many different modalities, all in regards to functional medicine, functional nutrition. But the pivot came because I wasn't getting answers. I knew something wasn't quite right with my children and also for myself. And I was not willing to accept that the only option was, it is what it is. Here's some antidepressants, Rhonda, you need to calm down. Or, you need to learn to cope, or you need to push through. And it's like, no, that doesn't work for me. And in working in clinic, I was getting results, but unfortunately, I was taking the long way round. And it really wasn't sustainable. It can get really quite expensive. And things really started to shift for me and my family about 7 years ago when I found a different way. And that's what we'll be talking about tonight. So everything I do comes from that focus, that always looking at solutions rather than symptoms, always seeking, but why, what's underlying, looking for the root cause. So tonight isn't quick fixes, it's not pretending that pain doesn't exist. It's about sharing what's actually shifted for myself and for Sue. And we'll also be touching on our partners, on our husbands. And, the big factor for that was initially they looked at both of us and thought, what a load of rot. What are you talking about? What are you on about now? Like, you're off on another tangent type of thing. But when they started to see the changes in us and then started experiencing the changes for themselves, that's when they went, right, I should have listened to her earlier, right? But yeah. And both of our husbands come from a military background, so does Sue. So there's a long history of, injuries, chronic pain, sucking it up, and often resulting in a reliance on pain medication. Thankfully, no longer part of their lives, but yeah, it can be a struggle. So I just want to make sure that you do rest assured that we do see you, okay? And we're not diminishing what you're going through. But tonight is purely educational and hopefully a little bit of light entertainment along the way as well. We are not here to diagnose, treat, mitigate, give medical advice whatsoever. This is about sharing our lived experience, professional observations, and also helping people feel less alone in what they're experiencing. So, anything we talk about, if it resonates with you, stay with us, jot down notes. And if you want to explore things further, stick around and please keep an open mind. All right. So, yeah, I just want to say I'm especially grateful for Sue Watson, who's joining us here tonight. Her schedule is very, very busy. So let's get cracking. All right. So I just wanted to make sure the recording is working, isn't it? Yep, awesome. Okay. So, Sue, can you just give us a bit of background? So, who are you and what is your background, your work, your, profession, yada, yada?
Okay, thank you, everyone. I will just say thank you, Rhonda, and for inviting me on tonight to share my story. But I'd also like to say a big thank you to everyone who's joined us tonight and given up their time to come and listen to our little chat tonight as well. So, um, I'm a former personal trainer, bodybuilder. Currently working part-time as a scheduler, or for those who don't know what scheduling is, it's rostering in the aged care sector. And I'm also a full-time grey nomad in training, but there's no grey. This is blonde. Um, so so yeah, I've been traveling full time for a couple of years in my caravan with my husband and still working. Now, when I say former PT, I sold my business in the end of 2016 and moved to Ballina, and didn't go back into the industry simply because I ended up very burnt out. Had Hashimoto's, still have a very mild case of Hashimoto's now, but it's managed. Um, Back in my early years, just going way back, I was very, very sporty. I used to play softball, hockey, netball. I was dirt biking. I did lots of water skiing, plus the bodybuilding, plus the gym junkie. So you can imagine from my teens right through to my nearly my 50s, what kind of impact that has on your body. And yeah, it did get to the point where the impact went that far that I ended up shredding my meniscus. So ended up having to have a partial knee reconstruction. Oh, and by the way, I was also 3 years Army Reserve too. So, every weekend we were, sort of one weekend a month, 2 weeks a year, we were out in the bush doing all sorts of stuff. Back in the day, they weren't so, fussed on safety or anything like that. So we did get up to some crazy stuff when we were out in the army as well. So yeah, that's pretty much me in a nutshell, with my background.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that. And so, what first led you to activation rather than just managing your symptoms, Sue?
Um, well, it was actually you that sort of planted the seed quite a few years ago when we had a chance meeting on the beach with our mutual love of fur babies, and you had were doing training there with a bunch of other ladies from Life Edge, and you we were just talking about activation out with dogs. It wasn't even aimed at us humans. And yeah, we got chatting and ended up friending on Facebook. And then the years sort of went by and we didn't sort of, you know, see each other for quite a while. And then after my knee operation, you reached out to me again and said you had something that could probably help. And I said, thank you, but I've got this managed. And, and then it was another lady had popped something up about a little yellow pill, and it grabbed my attention again. And when I reached out to her, she told me that it was you that put me onto this page. And then I reached out to you again. And we got chatting, and I just basically said that I was sick and tired of feeling sick and tired. Um, and all the medication I was on, I knew, like I've been doing lots of research myself over the years, um, knew that, medications, they can make you feel worse and rather than make you feel better if they're masking symptoms rather than actually getting to the root cause. Um, so yeah, I started digging and then asked you, and then you showed me an ABC primetime video, and it was like, well, hang on a minute, I need more information. And you were drip feeding me a lot of it and giving me time to absorb it. And everything you showed me, I liked what I saw and wanted to give it a try.
Yeah, absolutely. And I can really resonate with what you were saying, is that what, like, the first person who reached out to me, I was not interested at all, because one, I didn't know them. I didn't trust them. To me, they didn't really have any credibility. And then I remember seeing a documentary, and they spoke about it back then. And I'm like, wow, I need to jot this down and have a look at this activation, NRF2 activation, and how it was helping in regards to cells in the body that were mutating, right? Which I'm not about to talk all about that right here, right now. If you want more information, you want to see that video, reach out to the person who cares enough to invite you or share this recording with you. But then, a couple of years went by, and then it was actually a colleague that reached out and said that, well, there's pediatricians, there's cardiologists, there's, orthopedic surgeons, or, personal trainers, occupational therapists, you name it, all using and recommending activation. And I'm like, holy Julie, I really need to take a look at this then. Because I thought, well, I'm a health professional. Why haven't I heard about activation before? So for those who, we're not going to go right into activation. If you want more information, we can go through that in more detail, but pretty much is activation are all natural compounds, predominantly plant-based ingredients, functional food that you take to help make what you need again, like you were when you were a squishy 20-year-old, right? Helps to make antioxidants. It helps to make collagen. It helps to make whatever it is that your body used to do when it was young and vibrant. And so it was an absolute game changer for me when I actually really looked into the science. So what does activation mean to you, and what did you first notice? Because everyone is so different. But yeah, I'm really interested to hear your feedback.
Well, today, after 12 months, it means the world, absolutely everything to me. I I was like, getting pretty crippled with pain. So to not have that now today is just amazing, to be able to get up out of bed feeling like I am my age, and actually probably feeling younger because I am 57. But I don't feel like an 80-year-old anymore, that's for sure. My mental clarity after a few days was back. I work in a very, like, my industry that I work in is very busy. And you really do need to have your head on your shoulders, and thinking very straight and very quickly. So um, to have that back and to be able to think clearly and succinctly and get things right, is like, that's absolute gold for me. That's really, really important.
I
Um,
totally agree with that. And I just want to jump in because I hear that a lot. A lot of people with chronic pain, they just, it's like, how can you function through every day without it impacting your brain, impacting your mood, all of the above, right? And then if you're laying in pharmaceuticals on top of all that, it's bound to take its toll. So I'm really pleased that you brought that up, because I remember you coming back to me and saying, people are noticing the change in me at work, Rhonda. And I was like,
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah. 3 days, three days, that was it, and
Mm.
that was one change. Within a couple of months, um, I was having full night's sleep, and I mean a really restful sleep. I hadn't dreamt for nearly 10 odd years. So to get dreaming again, I knew I must be falling into some really deep, good quality restful sleep. So there, my dreams are back. Um, my inflammation is all but gone, um, to the point now where pharmaceuticals aren't there for me. And no more reflux, so I don't have to take reflux medication to stop what other medication was causing. So I don't have to do any of that anymore. I haven't taken any pharmaceutical medication now for 6 months. None. And I had I actually took a photo of what I was taking, and I've kept that. And I even went back to the doctor just recently to get my bloods done while I was back at home. And she said, "Oh, do you want to renew any of your medications?" I'm like, no thanks. You can scrap all of them. I don't need them. So that's activation means everything to me just because of that. When my, like I have a family who has a history of like, they need Webster packs for their medication. My mum is one of them. She is like, she has got everything. She's got osteoarthritis, osteoporosis. She's had both knees replaced, everything. She is like, honestly, if you shook my mum up, she would sound like a pill bottle. She is that. And I never wanted that for myself. So thanks to you reaching out and being persistent and getting me started, yeah, I'll sing this from the rooftops.
Oh
Who
my
wants to be on
gosh, you're going to make
medication?
me cry.
I love
That's
it. No,
amazing.
yeah,
Because our stories are so similar, Sue. My mum was exactly the same. And as soon as, because single mum, she raised me, like seriously, long story, but we had absolutely nothing. Like we had no electricity, no nothing. She was working two, three jobs. So as soon as I found out about activation, because she was the same conditions, right? As soon as I found out about it, I immediately got her started. And when we moved her from Bundaberg to Mackay, she was on something like 12, 15 different types of prescription medication. She's now down to two because of activation. It's amazing. When your body starts to rebalance, and the cellular stress, the inflammation starts to come down, your body can go, we're not in constant fight or flight, on a cellular level. So I just love that. Thank you so much. Yeah. Was there
yeah.
anything else that you wanted to share about what activation means to you?
Oh, I could go on.
What about your husband?
Well, Doug was, he was, like you said in the beginning, very skeptical. Oh my God, what is she going to be trying now? Because I've tried so many things. So he just said to me, "Oh, how much does it cost?" I'm like, I'm not putting prices on anything here. Not, you can't put a price on your health, you know? And I said, "Do you want us to look like the grey nomads that we park up next to? Or do you want to actually get out of the van with a spring in your step and enjoy what we're out here supposed to be doing?" And he's like, "Oh, okay, all right. Well, let's see how you go first." So after a couple of months, when he saw the changes in me and what I'd stopped taking to then what I am taking now just activation, just plant food. And he said, "Well, can I try it?" And I said, "Yes, all right. Well, let's get you started." So he's on try Synergizer now.
Yeah.
And he feels like $1 million.
Yeah.
He even says that. He's like, "I just think so much clearer. that at work, the guys are all saying, you are just so cool, calm, collected. And he has a very stressful job where he's at. Um, and yeah, he just said he's noticed the changes within about 3 months.
Mm.
So he's slowly noticed it, and he's got a very busy brain. So he's undiagnosed ADHD. And now he just even said it just feels like the noise in his head has gone and he
Mm.
can actually think like in a straight line instead of a
Yeah,
messy
yeah.
head. Yeah.
I can totally resonate with that in the fact that, like, my husband, we don't talk much about Stephen because, champion swimmer, champion footballer, he played for, the Army, Australian Rugby League, Union, all that kind of stuff, lots of injuries, lots of pain. But aside from that, what he was like, he's the 1% that total recall. You would read something in photographic memory, all that kind of stuff, but that faded with all the pain medications. And so when we got him on the NRF1 and the NRF2, within was it 2 to 3 weeks, I think, all the stiffness in his hands was gone. Previously, he used to have to run his hands under hot water to get them moving. That was gone. Um, there was a bit of an adaptive phase because these products help you to detox. They will help to get the body working and moving like it should on a cellular level. And so the first 2 weeks, he was waking up feeling like there was a slight hangover, nothing major. It didn't stop him from going to work or anything. But what he did notice was instant recall. He could go into a contract, sprout all these facts, figures without his laptop or anything. It was like, holy dooly, he was back. So, yeah, just absolutely love all the activators. So, and if anyone wants more information about the activators, like I was saying, we take these products to help our body make what we already have within us, like proteins, hormones, peptides, antioxidants, all of it, neurotransmitters, your brain power, everything just switches back on. And it's not just for, people 50 and beyond. I actually got started because I was working back then specifically in regards to neurodivergence, so autism, ADHD. So I immediately got every one of my clients on the activators. And what I started to notice was immediate results, even like stress, the parents coming back to me within 2 weeks, ready to implement change. So, yeah, I just want to say thank you so much for sharing that. So, final question: what's one thing people assume about pain or aging that you see differently once the body is supported from the inside out?
What if you mean so most people think, well, okay, I've got pain, I've just got to live with it, and I'll
And
just
and
keep
now,
going to
so
the doctor.
yeah, before activation, and then what you can tell them now about activation. What's the difference?
It's it's so different. Like, you've just it's so hard to put into words. It is um
Because people automatically assume it just comes with aging.
yeah, they do. They do. They either think it comes with aging or it's hereditary. I've just got to put up with it. You don't. You don't. You are not bound by your DNA.
Mm. Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
yeah,
And so if there were two products that, because I believe you started on two products, is that correct? That was the
yeah,
NRF2 and the liquid collagen, yeah?
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if there were only two products that you could take, because obviously the company has quite a few other activators, but would they be your first two that you would go for if you could only select two?
Those two. The
Yeah.
NRF2 and the collagen. Yeah.
Yeah. Me
I
too.
let my collagen run out for a month. That was that was a big mistake
Really?
because I noticed it within 2 weeks of not having it that I was just starting to get little, like, just little tiny creaky feeling back in my fingers, or, my
Mm.
knee that had the knee replacement was starting to stiffen up a little bit. Yeah, within a week of back on it, it was back to feeling just just perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And the other thing as well, because I want to, make sure that people understand there's clear expectations. It's not always going to be a quick fix. Like for me, I had major adrenal fatigue after recovering my son from autism level 3, burnt the candle at both ends, yada yada. But within 3 days, I was fully back, felt like I was back in my 20s. Not everyone's going to be like that. We need to give it 1 month per decade that we've been on the planet. So both Sue and myself, we're closer to 60. So if we were starting today, we'd have to give it a minimum of 6 months. And so that's just the realistic expectations. And then that's when everything comes back into balance, that homeostasis. And then if we want to maintain it, then we continue. So for some people with, for example, a liquid collagen, instead of taking 150 ml bottle, it's a liquid, and it's not a supplement, they're activators. It activates your collagen production. So you start making your own collagen. It also stops any further breakdown. Okay. There's certain genes that are overexpressed and they will chip away and break down your collagen, premature aging. And collagen, our bones are 40% collagen, our joints, our ligaments, you name it. It's all of the important parts. But yeah, if someone was to say to me, oh, look, I'll give it a go for a month, I actually say don't bother, because we know it's got robust science. I'm not in it for the money at all. Like, yes, I'm an affiliate, 100%. I shout it from the rooftops, just like Sue, because if you find something that you're passionate about and you find something that that's going to work, then of course you're going to talk to other people about it. So yeah, I'm the same. The NRF2 and the liquid collagen, when I look at the science and I see that it's reducing inflammatory markers by 97%, why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you take it? Yeah.
yeah.
So, yeah, I just want to say thank you so much for that. So before we wrap up, I just want to remind everyone, again, we are not here to diagnose, treat, reverse, mitigate, cure anything. But what we do know is that when you see time and time again that when people remove what's harming, what's not serving the body, replenish with what's missing, activate pathways that have become dormant, they've gone to sleep, you pretty much wake up, get back to work, right? Your body starts to think it's a 20-year-old again. And there's even tests that you can have a look at if you want to look at all the robust science. Go back to the person who invited you, who shared this with you, and they can share all of the science, independent science. Otherwise, I would not be here. Okay. Because I'm pretty good at what I do. I've got a truckload of stuff at my disposal, but I cannot get the same results using food or supplementation. Activation makes me look good. That is the foundation that you then build upon. All right. So, but yeah, when your body starts to work as nature intended, incredible things can and do happen. Sue's absolutely living proof. So am I. So is my son. So is my husband. All of the above. So I just want to say a heartfelt thank you to Sue. So blessed to call you my friend. And to every
Thank
single
you.
person who joined us tonight, a massive thank you to those who cared enough to reach out, who invited, who shared the recording. And yeah, if this resonates with you, if you've got any questions or you want more information, go back to the person who shared it with you, okay? Because they were the ones that thought of you. They were the ones that cared enough, and no doubt they'll be wanting to hear what you like the most about the call. So tonight's just the beginning. We will be running regular sessions like this at least once a week, bringing in people with that firsthand experience, health professionals, corporate athletes who recovered from burnout, whether, individuals have walked their own health challenges, hairdressers, beauty therapists, whatever. We have a truckload of heart-centered people who have aligned with activation. Yeah. So stay tuned, keep an eye out for that. If you've got any questions, again, reach out. They'll be able to help answer any questions, get you started, whatever it might be. And if you're anything like me, and when you first hear about this, you start thinking of the 11.8 million people who need to hear about this, we want to hear from you. We would love to work with you because it's a simple affiliate link. that can get the ball rolling so you too can help other people reach their true potential. So again, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for trusting us with your time. And yeah, I'll call it a night. Thank you so much.